What is going on, everybody? It is Monday, November 6th, and let's get right into it. We'll take a quick look at the indexes and then kind of get into detail on, the good stuff of the day. So, indexes went a little bit higher today. Nothing too crazy, but we continue to, trend higher, despite everything you may think. This market has been resilient and continues to chug forward on pretty good volume. So it's a SPY right there, and now we'll hop over to the Qs. And again, same picture here, continued volume is coming in. We're continuing to trade higher and higher here. Definitely a pretty extended market, but as long as, that volume continues to return and buy up these indexes, that's going to present, long opportunities for us in those given sectors. So take a look at some of the big names of the day. And even though I didn't trade any of these, it's still good to keep an eye on them. Apple, nice gap, open on Friday, and as you can see, up about 1% today. Take a look at Google, down a little bit, nothing crazy. Tesla still kind of struggling down here after the gap down on disappointing earnings. Facebook kind of floating around, nothing crazy there. Head over to Nvidia. Again, just continuing to kind of, chug higher and higher here. Very, very resilient. And of course, Netflix. Now, in my opinion, this is the best setup the market has to offer right now. And the reason behind that is, again, guys, Wall Street, those guys, the hedge funds, they're what control the price of stocks. Technology sector has by far been the strongest sector. So by default, if they continue to buy the technology sector, what that means is that, the big stocks in that sector, such as Netflix, they're likely going to continue to move forward. So anytime you have a very big stock in a sector that's been super strong in a squeeze like this, it should really warrant some attention. So what I've been doing is inside the squeeze over here on the 195. Started last week, and I've slowly just, bought in some calls in here. I'm buying the November 17th expiration 205 calls. So these calls are out of the money, which is a little bit different than, my typical options trade. But I have the whole theory, the whole trade is based upon the thought that if the Qs, if technology as a sector continues to see, buying, Netflix is definitely going to continue to move out of here. So those 205 options will become very valuable as it actually approaches 205. Now, if the stock, pulls back from here, those options, because they're out of the money, are going to lose value a little bit quicker than, say, the 190, 200 calls. But, it's a risk I'm willing to take. So I have about $1,300 or so of risk in this Netflix position, and at the close today, that position is down $125. So not bad at all. Nothing to even be, remotely worried about. The stock did make a pretty hard and quick dip today, but it bounced immediately. The reasoning behind this dip was that, news came out that the big, media company 21st Century Fox is considering selling most of their business to Disney. Now, for you guys who don't know, Disney has been pulling all of their content off of Netflix, and it's all kind of, starting to make sense now as to why they did that. If this deal goes through with, 21st Century, that kind of makes, Disney a content, animal, I guess you could say. So, that drove, a few people to sell the stock in Netflix and kind of panic. But as you can see right here around, just call it 198, they bought it up immediately and pushed the stock back up. So sitting in Netflix, and I have that $124 negative position for now. Not worried about that at all. Guideware Software, GWRE. It's my typical trade here, guys. Nice squeeze setup on increasing volume. I took my entry here, and that was on the 1st. So as of the close of today, I'm up $560 in profit on this trade, and that's pretty good considering, I didn't have any big size risk. Now, I don't have the exact numbers in terms of position size in front of me, but, this is pretty sweet. I think I had about 700 risk or so, to be up almost $600 is great. So, kind of a fade in the first bar today, but the volume is continuing to come in. I'm going to ride this one out, see if we can get a move towards 85 or higher. And, that could potentially turn that into $1,000 profit. So that would be cool. Another great trade of mine from today is APC. Now, this is an energy stock, and energy is a sector that has been gaining strength lately. And we'll touch a little bit more into that in a few minutes here. But same picture as always, guys. I'm sure it gets boring hearing me say this, but the results really aren't boring. Nice tight squeeze. I use the 195 as always to gauge my entry. So as you can see this morning around 10 of 11 or so, took my position on this bar and the stock never looked back. Volume continued to pour in and the stock just closed at the high of the day. So look at the daily chart here. That was a really nice day for this stock. And at the moment, after one day of being in this trade, I have a current open profit of $590. So as it sits, I am down 125 on Netflix, up 560 on GWRE, up 590 on APC. And another trade I took today over here in LYV, Live Nation, had a nice looking squeeze on the daily. And again, rinse and repeat, guys. Same thing. Took my position on the second bar of the day as it broke out of the top range of the squeeze. Very small position size. I'm not looking for much here, and I'm currently up $60 on that. So again, nothing crazy, but it's $60 I didn't have. Also took a trade in microchip today. Ignore that. I think that's kind of just some aftermarket stuff. And, kind of got in up here, faded a bit, and got some kind of recovery, but I'm down $17. So, essentially, I would call that flat. And another trade of mine from today was BWP, another energy stock, along with APC. And again, guys, volume coming in here, not exactly in a squeeze. It's actually just the start of a 195 squeeze, but the reason I took this trade, and we'll get into this now, is because of my sector analysis. Now, my focus, as you guys know, is always on, where are the big guys in Wall Street putting their money, because that's what moves, price higher. So, what I've been trying to do a lot lately is really focus on, which sectors of these, these guys out here, the big boys, which sectors is most of their money going into? Well, obviously, for the majority of, the past 6 months or so, it's been tech. We've also seen, the healthcare / biotech sector. A lot of money was going into there. And now it looks like money is starting to go into energy. So this is XLE, the energy ETF. Energy had gotten beaten down for a long time. Kind of found a bottom here. And now we were setting up in this nice daily squeeze. So, my process now is completely revolved around what are the strongest sectors in the market. Because if I can narrow down which sectors are going to be getting the most money from the institutions, I can then search for squeeze opportunities inside of that sector that will have, basically the wind at their back of the institutions coming in and buying up that index and the stocks within that index. So, why was today's trade in APC, so perfect and didn't look back? Nice squeeze on XLE. It broke the squeeze today. It did not look back. The volume continued to pour in. So, by default, APC, a stock in that sector, which was also in a squeeze, did the same thing. So, that's going to be my focus going forward, guys, is monitoring, sectors for strength. Going to identify the top 2 or 3 strongest sectors of the market, and then I begin my search for squeeze opportunities in stocks within that sector. So for example, let me see if I can get my list here. Alright, so one strong sector lately has been the financials, XLF. A nice strong sector in a nice squeeze. So that tells me, hey, I should go look in this sector for some good squeeze setups. And there's a handful. We've got Goldman Sachs. BLK looks good. And even some smaller, lesser known names. TLRA. It's a $5 stock. Another financial stock in a nice squeeze. TTD, which you've seen before. So look at that, guys. I've already got, a list of 5 or 6 beautiful looking squeeze setups that are in a strong sector that is also squeezing. So theoretically, if XLF were to move higher and break out of this squeeze, all of those names that I just showed you by default will also make, moves to the upside. Few energy names. Again, guys, because energy moved out today as a sector, a lot of stocks that were in squeezes also moved out today as well. So probably a little bit late on this one for tomorrow, but again, guys, that's going to be my focus going forward, sector analysis. So basically, here's my process. Step 1, identify the 2 to 3 strongest sectors in the market, at that given time. Step 2, find squeeze opportunities in the strongest stocks within those sectors. And then step 3 is to just basically do what I do and wait for that volume indication and place my trades as such. Had a few earnings today after the close. Weight Watchers announced they were in a nice squeeze, and it looks like they beat. And they're going to open up, as of right now, around $49. So that puts them out of the squeeze. And I believe a few of, let me see, is it TrueCar? Yeah. So TrueCar, they announced earnings tonight after the close as well. And they're down over 25% after the close. So they are set to open at just about 1180. That puts them way down here, so that's pretty nasty. So keep in mind, guys, we're at the tail end of earnings, but you definitely need to make sure, because always check if a stock you're looking at has earnings coming up anytime soon. Because again, I was watching Weight Watchers this morning, and I wasn't even aware that they had earnings tonight. Now thankfully, I didn't get my signal, but say I had, I could have taken this trade blindly without knowing that earnings was tonight. And that's a huge coin flip. Now of course, it worked well over here in this example, but always be mindful of that kind of stuff when you enter a trade. Be mindful of what your total risk is, and be mindful of, any upcoming catalyst for that stock, whether it's earnings, a press release, all that good shit. Whatever it may be, these are just kind of the small things to keep in mind. So that's all I got for you guys. What I'm going to be looking for tomorrow, again, is stocks in a squeeze in strong sectors. So for me, the focus is definitely going to be on, the financial sector, along with the industrial sector. Got a few good setups in there. WLK, good looking squeeze. And that's about it, guys. Come over here. Notice today that, the real estate sector was very strong. So did my quick scan for the real estate sector and found a really nice setup here in KBH. So definitely going to keep an eye on that tomorrow, as well as monitoring my positions in Netflix, GWRE, APC, and Microchip. And that's about it, guys. Other than that, what I'm working on tonight is putting the finishing touches on our 5-hour video series. I'm going to drop, the first part of that either later this evening or tomorrow morning. Want to make sure that's perfect. This is literally going to be, my entire trading strategy from point A to point B. Risk management, stock selection, entries, exit, profit taking, sector analysis, options, everything. basically compiled into this one video series. So I hope you guys are excited for that. I'm excited to have put it together. It took a lot of hard work, but I think you guys are going to love it, and it's something that, you can turn to at any point if you're kind of, ever unsure of any certain aspects of your trading. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to hang up here, get back to work on that, and I'll catch you guys in the chat. All right.